Now the impossible is being asked of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is in a position that he has not been in since 2016 when his team ended up blowing a 3-1 series lead. And that is, can you win a series where your team has the same number of MVP candidates as the other team? It's tough, man. It's KD versus Giannis. It's almost an even match. It's 2-2. How can you be expected to win 2 out of 4 games, which is all they had to do, by the way? They're up 2-1 when Kyrie gets hurt. How can you be expected? I don't know. It's unfair. It's not what Kevin Durant signed up for. Kevin Durant, in fact, I looked it up. There's only been a couple moments in his career he's had to play a playoff series without another MVP next to him. In 2015, he had to do it after Russ went down against the Rockets, and he summarily lost in 5 to the Grizzlies. In 2018, he had to play without Steph for a round against, who was that against? Was that against Portland? No, it was against San Antonio, but he had Clay, and they obviously won that. But that's it. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, it's asking a lot from Kevin Durant. Now, luckily, Brandon, he's the best player on the planet. Luckily, Brandon, the Nets still have the great Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Mike James, who we were talking about last week, and the Bucks are, a flawed one-man team. So, yeah, I think that it's the Nets are in a tougher spot, but they got to win 2 of the next 3 with 2 of them at home. I assume you believe, I don't know where your Durant jersey is, that they can do it. You don't look like that. Where's
the Durant jersey? That's all that's left. Yeah. I mean, people asking me today, walking into the studio, how was your weekend? How was my weekend? Terrible. James Harden in his hamstring. You got Kyrie Irving in his ankle. And yes, all I'm left is with Durant. He is one of the greatest players on the planet right now. He's a walking bucket. But the reality, Nick, is it might be damn near impossible to get it done if Kyrie don't come back. If James Harden doesn't walk back in there with a hamstring that can hold up for 32, 34 minutes, then I don't know if they have a chance. They are the better team given the situation. The Bucks are the better team. Drew Holiday can ball. Chris Middleton is probably the most underrated player out there. Look what he did, the big shots he made last night. Like, come on, man. This is all bad. This was their, but this has been the situation all year. All year. They only played together 8 times. They're banged up. Injury after injury after injury. So this is just all bad for the Brooklyn Nets right now, and it's just tearing up my season, man.
Well, I do feel for you, Brandon, but not that much, because this was kind of predictable. So you can look back to NBA Finals. This obviously isn't the Finals, but NBA postseasons where it's like, man, injuries determined it. Some would argue in 2015 when Love and Kyrie go down for those Cavs with LeBron.
Right.
And that was shocking because Love and Kyrie had both played 75 games that year. A lot of people, of course, go to 2019 when KD and Clay go down for the Warriors. And that was shocking because both of those guys had played 78 games this year. One of the reasons I have not been as high on the Nets as literally every other basketball-watching American is this concern. James Harden dealing with a hamstring injury these playoffs is not surprising. It would have been surprising if he didn't. He missed 20 games this year with the hamstring injury. And Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, getting banged up in a postseason is not surprising. In 2015, he was injured for the end of the postseason. In 2018, he was injured for the postseason. In 2020, he was injured for the postseason. So these aren't shocking events. The one guy that you would have been shocked if something would have happened to him would have been Durant, because he's dealt with the one major injury other than his foot over the last decade. But Brandon, I am surprised
injuries happen.
That you're so inconsolable, that you're so down on the Nets' chances. They're at home with the best
100%.
player. KD's far better than Giannis, right?
You can't control that. So everything you just talked about, injuries, you can't control that. Kyrie in the paint, going up for a rebound, comes down, twists an ankle. That has nothing to do with him and his approach to taking care of his body. That is something that you can't control. Hell, last year in the bubble, we saw Giannis dealing with a knee. So every guy, every female athlete deals with injuries. It's just inevitable. But it's just all about timing. Here's the thing that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker, low key, has really put he put his whole
stamp on the series.
He imposed his will, excuse me. There you go. He put a stamp on this series, and you said it. You said P.J. Tucker can stop KD, and KD came out and lit him up game 1 and even in game 2. And then all of a sudden, man, this dude is playing lights out game 3, game 4. Now, I do have Kevin Durant penciled in for a big game. Without Kyrie Irving, without James Harden, I don't think they get it done. I think Kevin Durant can have a big game or two, keep them in contention, but it's going to be hard. P.J. Tucker has been phenomenal. I thought that little corner 3 was going to be the reason why he, at the end of the series, like, yo, P.J. Tucker, he was worth the trade. He was worth it. But no, his defense has stood up. Him last night on KD was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know if there was any calls to bring security back in to try to get him away from KD, but he played phenomenal. Brandon, I want to show you 2 things. The first one, which made me think like the blowout from game 2 was far away. This is after Kyrie's left. The Bucks are just playing with so much confidence here. Once the ball starts being thrown between Kevin Durant's legs, that means that the Bucks are no longer afraid of the Nets. And Nick, we talked about it last week. The threes are starting to fall. They made 16 out of 47, 34%. Here's the dangerous thing. Still not even as good as they are in the regular season. Do you see them raining down threes in game 5 and taking it?
Oh, I don't know if they'll make 16 again, but they're not going to make 6. And I want to talk for a moment, though, about game 4, because people are going to misremember how this happened. This game flipped before Kyrie got hurt. The Bucks were on a 19-2 run when Kyrie got hurt. The Bucks, after being down double digits, had not taken control, but they had gotten themselves back in the game and taken the lead. At halftime, it's a 5-point game. And in that second half, Kevin Durant had an opportunity. I just got to be great for a half. And then we're up 3-1. And then I don't think Brandon is as anxious this morning. Even if Kyrie and Harden are done for the year, can the Nets steal one of the next 3? And Kevin Durant, after Kyrie went out, was 6 for 19. And the majority of that work actually happened in the 5 minutes P.J. Tucker went to the bench in the third quarter. P.J. Tucker went to the bench in the third quarter with foul trouble. KD exploded for 14 points in 5.5 minutes, 4 of 6 shooting. Aside from that, when Tucker was on the floor, he was 3 of 11 when he was guarded by P.J. Tucker. So I do think that the Nets had an opportunity last night, is particularly after they gathered themselves at halftime, if KD had gone off. He didn't. And I'm not trying to be too hard on KD. I do think he's the second best player in the world. But if we're going to hold him to those standards, it is surprising to me, so many Nets fans, and I'm not picking on Brandon, that to have you got to win 2 out of 4. You got to split with they're not playing an all-time great team. They're playing a team with one star.
I think the standard.
They have 1 star.
Yeah. Yeah, but Nick, come on, man. The standard that you're trying to hold KD to is ridiculous. I mean, think about it. The Chiefs, if Patrick Mahomes goes down and also Tyreek Hill goes down, you have no chance. So you got James Harden who goes down. It's only 40 seconds. You got James Harden who goes down. He only played 40 seconds in this series. And then those two together, still no excuse. Hold them to the standard. The standard is you guys got to go win it. So you have Kyrie Irving and KD left on your team. You have a good chance of winning it. But now Kyrie goes down. Yeah, that's too much for KD to ask. No, we're not saying that they're bums. We're just saying that the Bucks aren't better than the Nets when both teams are fully loaded. And the Bucks are still fully loaded. The Bucks are the one team this year year that hasn't dealt with those type of injuries. The Philadelphia 76ers, they dealt with injuries. Embiid in and out. You have the Lakers dealing with injuries in and out. So you have the Nets dealing with it all year. So that's the thing here is the standards that we're talking about for KD moving forward. I just don't think they're sustainable and it's just out of this world.
I think it would be unfair to say Nets still should win the title. That KD, if Harden and Kyrie don't come back, they should still. I think that would be wildly unfair. We're not talking about winning the title. We're not even talking about winning a series. We're talking about up 2-1, you lose Kyrie Irving midway through the second quarter. Can you win 2 of 4? Now they have to win 2 of 3 against a team that 5 days ago everyone was declaring dead in the water, super flawed. I don't know if that is an unfair standard, Wilds, but we'll get to find out some of that on Tuesday night.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.